Hi friends, this is Ellie and I own a microphone. And the girls are going on a girls trip, baby! So we're gonna talk about the chaos. I already said this last time, but please remember, anything I say about these people are not actually how I feel about them in real life because I don't know them. So let's get started. So a lot of the girls are starting to call themselves saints and sinners. Saints meaning practicing Mormonism, meaning practicing Mormons. Saints meaning practicing Mormon strictly. And sinners meaning they do so in a more so rebellious way. It's kind of based on the people that Jen invited to her baby blessing versus the people that got uninvited. They say the saints are Whitney, Mayci, Jen, and Michaela. And the sinners are Taylor, Jessi, Demi, and Layla. As you can see by my outfit, I identify as a member of the saints because I have never once sinned in my entire life. Ever actually. So far they seem to use the saints and sinners thing as a kind of jokey saying, and it doesn't really have to do with who actually hangs out together and who doesn't, but there is definitely tension between Whitney and Taylor because a few episodes before this, Whitney decided not to attend Taylor's baby shower without even sending her a text. Mayci seems to be sensing these cracks in the group and wants to work on getting everyone together again on this girls trip, but the drama already starts on the way there. They are driving separately in two cars. Both cars are talking about the conflict between Whitney and Taylor. Taylor basically just says she has a lot of anxiety about it. She wants it to go well and that she just wants to talk and clear the air and see if they can work out their problems. Meanwhile, Whitney makes a joke about having to physically fight Taylor, a pregnant woman, which makes everything super awkward.
Well, she's pregnant, so you can't do that.
Yeah. I forgot! Sue me.
So obviously these two women are already approaching things from different angles. Taylor is serious about repairing things and Whitney is making jokes about having to fight her. All of the girls arrive at the suite and Jen realizes she forgot to pack her garments. This is a topic I'm frequently confused about in this show. To my understanding, it seems that Mormons wear these under their clothes as a reminder of the promise they made to God regarding modesty and resisting temptation. I've heard that you don't have to wear garments while you're exercising. So there is this saying that Mormons are either coming from the gym or going to the gym. Jen seems a little bit upset that she forgot her garments, but there are many outfits I've seen her wear and also everyone else that clearly don't have garments underneath. So I just assumed that she didn't wear them. I mean, I have no judgments at all. She can wear whatever she wants and her outfit choices are always fire. But I'm just trying to understand the context of what's happening. Anyway, they have dinner, they pray, they drink their Diet Coke out of wine glasses, which is very cute. After the dinner is where this trip takes a sharp turn. Demi comes out with a truth box. And just look at everyone's faces. They already know this is an absolutely terrible idea. Like, they are dreading this. Actually, no, never mind. Taylor is excited, which I get because up to this point, she has been the main source of controversy. Everything that she did is already out there for everyone to judge. So she's like, awesome, you guys can go next. The first two questions are just your classic bachelorette trip questions. Which girl here would you go lesbian for? And which girl's husband would you sleep with if you could? Are these classic bachelorette trip questions? But anyway, it's all fun and games until the third question, which is, Whitney, why don't you like Taylor? Are you just jealous of her clout? Who wrote this question? Whitney is shocked and at a loss for words, which I understand because the question certainly carries a tone. But at the same time, the question at its core is really not that crazy. Whitney made a very clear choice by not showing up to Taylor's baby shower and not even sending her a text about it to begin with. Taylor doesn't get it. She thought they were friends. Like, you made that conscious choice. It's not that crazy that now you would have to answer to why you did that. Whitney's answer to the question is that she's not jealous of the clout. She's jealous of the forgiveness that Taylor received for what she did, aka exposing the swinging scandal. Okay, now I completely forgot about this. Whitney made this video while her baby was in the hospital. So she is saying the girls forgave Taylor way too easily, but they didn't give her the same forgiveness for posting the hospital video. Which I'm like, girl, where? You are still sitting here like the rest of them. You are invited to everything they're invited to. They definitely want you here. It's you who chose not to show up to something. The fourth question is addressed to Taylor about Dakota, the guy she's seeing. There was a rumor that Dakota slept with another girl while he was seeing Taylor, and he swore up and down that he did not do this. Taylor believes them. The question is, if it is true that Dakota hooked up with another girl, would you leave him? And Taylor's answer is
100,000% would be dead to me.
with zero hesitation. She is a badass for that. The next question is about how Demi said something like Jen was too Mormon. Demi is like, I didn't say you were too Mormon. I just said you talk about Mormonism too much, which is not true. She actually says something much closer to she is too Mormon. But I don't really care because both of these takes suck. Weren't you the one who said on the Mormon scale, you're a 9? So what number is too Mormon? Also, I haven't seen Jen bring up Mormonism too much. But even if she did, that is just kind of what happens when you have something that affects a lot of your life. It's going to come up in a lot of conversations. The next topic that comes up is bad, worse than what already happened, if you can believe that. Apparently, Demi called Taylor white trash. Demi is like, well, I was right to call you white trash because you were flirting with all of our husbands before I even knew you were a swinger, which just made me laugh because she said it like it didn't make sense to me that you were flirting with all of our husbands. But then when I found out you were a swinger, now I get it. Like, no, it still does not make sense that a swinger would flirt with a bunch of husbands who are not swingers. Like, being a swinger does not make that action any better. But Demi is starting to become aggressive. She tells Jen to shush when she chimes in, which is not cool. But anyway, Taylor's calmness during this exchange is very jarring to me. Like, it actually gave me chills.
So what else is trashy that I do then, since a lot of it is?
And it makes Demi start to stutter a little bit. I don't know if this allegation is true, but Taylor admits that she used to have a lot of issues. So maybe it did happen, but she is sorry about it and she's trying to change, and I haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise. And also, white trash is just nasty work to me. Taylor responds and says Demi was still in a bra when Taylor and Dakota showed up for the Galentine's party, and that Dakota was super uncomfortable about it. Which, okay, they're both weird for this. Like, Demi, why did you walk out in a bra when your guests were arriving? But also, Dakota, just avert your eyes to the floor. You're going to be okay. So at this point, all the girls are talking about who said what, where they heard it from. Demi is upset. She feels like everyone is coming at her. And she's like, I love how this game was my idea and I'm getting obliterated right now. Like, yeah, you talked a lot of shit about your friends. You wanted to play a truth game. You didn't expect that you would be involved in some of the truth that comes out. Like, at this point, we're speed running all of the stuff that you said. Afterwards, Whitney is talking to Mayci, and Whitney is mad that Mayci didn't have her back during this game. She is referring to when Demi accused Whitney of saying something that Whitney believes she didn't say. So she looked at Mayci and said, did I say that? And Mayci was caught off guard a little bit and didn't respond immediately. So Whitney's interpretation of that was that Mayci didn't have her back and she felt betrayed by her. I'm sorry, but you were here for this whole thing. And Mayci is the one you have a problem with right now. Your best friend. Demi goes into Taylor's room and apologizes to her. And I actually like it a lot. She admits to everything and she makes no excuses. Like, this is a very acceptable apology. And they were supposed to room together for this trip. And Demi is letting her have the room to herself now, which I like. Next, Taylor wants to talk to Whitney in private. But before they even start, Whitney makes a joke to Taylor and is like, don't punch me. Despite this weird start, Taylor lays it out perfectly. She doesn't blame Whitney for anything. She doesn't accuse her of anything. She just simply wants to know why she didn't show up to her baby shower and why she didn't even send her a text about it. And Whitney is just giving her absolutely nothing. She has no explanation. She's like, I didn't say anything because I didn't care to and I didn't think it mattered. And that is really not cool. It would be better if she was mad at Taylor for something and told her about it right now, but she won't even validate the concept that Taylor would be upset. Whitney is acting like nothing happened, and Taylor just imagined all of this in her own head, even though pretty much all the girls agree that Whitney did something wrong. While this is going on, Demi is downstairs talking again, which is literally what just got her in trouble in the previous scene. They are talking about the hospital video. Mayci kind of tries to defend her. She's like, she posted that video because the baby was actually getting better and it was like more like a celebration thing. And the internet just misconstrued it. But Demi says, no, Whitney admitted to me that she did that just for clout. Which, yeah, that is what social media is for. That is what this video is for. Would you be mad at me if I told you I posted this video for likes and comments and subscribers? So Demi decides to go upstairs and join this private conversation between Whitney and Taylor, which has nothing to do with her, which I guess is better than talking behind her back. And it starts off fine, but eventually Whitney and Demi just start arguing about something completely different. They're arguing about the concept of talking shit, basically. Demi is like, I told you that Jen was too Mormon in private. Why did you tell her I said that? And Whitney is like, well, because that was mean and she had the right to know that you said that about her. And Demi is like, well, how would you feel if I told everyone that you said something about someone else? And Whitney said, I wouldn't care. And she's right. Don't talk shit about anyone unless you're okay with it getting back to them. If you don't want them to know you said it, then don't say it. But meanwhile, Taylor just wanted to find out why Whitney didn't come to her baby shower, but that ship has sailed because now this conversation is about Demi. However, Taylor still has empathy for everyone and tries to turn the conversation back around. But Whitney just completely ignores her and keeps arguing with Demi. It gets so bad that Whitney starts crying and leaves. Awesome, Demi. Thank you for completely ruining what could have been a civil discussion. Then Demi follows Whitney to the place where she was hiding and crying so that she can continue to yell at her. The other girls are telling her to stop yelling. Just give Whitney a minute to breathe. I don't know, because maybe she's crying, but she just refuses. She won't leave. She won't stop yelling. So Mayci says,
You're being a bitch.
this makes Demi even more mad though. But Jessi chimes in and tries to explain in a calm manner why she thinks people have a problem with Whitney. Jessi says the main problem is that they feel Whitney is a little bit elitist. She often puts on a show of cutting people off so that they'll chase her and makes them feel like only some of them get to be her friend. This is a little confusing for us as an audience to watch at first because we haven't seen that yet, but it does come up again later and it is definitely partially true. But anyway, she accomplishes way more in a few seconds than Demi could accomplish in this entire scene just by choosing to speak calmly. Like, Whitney has now stopped crying and actually seems like she's able to listen to the criticism. Or so we think. Mayci is comforting Whitney in the next scene like a true girl's girl and gets Whitney to admit that she actually does care about the situation with Taylor. But she is just putting up a front and acting like she doesn't. That night they go to dinner and Whitney still seems to be very emotional about everything that happened earlier and she has to leave the table to hide in the bathroom. At this point, she feels like everyone in the group is out to get her and that no one likes her and she doesn't belong here, and I totally empathize with her. I know what that feels like, to think that everyone in a room hates you. Even if that's not true, her feelings are still real and they matter. But after she calms down, she comes back to the table to present the birthday cake to Mayci and kind of implies the only reason she was missing was to go get the cake. And that just made me laugh because that was just like such a smooth cover up. Okay, so enough about the girls trip. I just have two things left to talk about in this video, and one of them is Layla's divorce party. Despite only being 22 years old, Layla has already been married and divorced, and she is throwing a party to celebrate the death of her former marriage, but also to celebrate all of the life she has ahead of her now that she has been freed from this burden. Divorce is very taboo in the Mormon community, so I imagine this was quite hard for her to do, and all the girls are proud of her for it and super supportive. Layla is worried that Whitney will not show up to her party because, get this, she left the group chat. This is a very clear statement that she is done with them. We also see throughout this episode, through conversations she has with her husband and her mom, she pretty much confirms that she does not want to be friends with these people anymore. But guess what? She does show up. I don't know. Whitney is sitting there wondering why everyone is acting so weird around her, and her husband has to remind her, didn't you leave the group chat? And she was like, oh yeah. And then Connor tries way too many times to open a bottle on the table until he starts to leave scuff marks. Layla enters her party in a black veil, looking like the badass she is, and I am truly so happy for her and her life ahead. But they immediately try to set Layla up with a new guy. Like, why? Can a girl not live without a man for 2 seconds? Like, what is the rush? Here he comes. My name is Mr. Man. Let the girl breathe. Jessi and Whitney start to have a private chat. Whitney is like, why did you say all that stuff on the girls' trip? And Jessi goes through and explains her reasoning again. And in my opinion, it's all said in a very nice way. But Whitney's response is basically, well, I can't do bad stuff, but Demi can? And that's okay? Like, no, that's not how it works. Two things can be true at once. You can both be wrong. It can be not okay for both of you. This conversation ends with Whitney leaving the party, and to be honest, I don't think that Jessi could have said anything that would have made this end differently. Like, I don't think Whitney was truly hearing anything. At this point, I do like Jessi. I think she's ambitious for trying to fix this situation, but she did say one thing earlier that I thought was weird. She asked me if she's going to be the new queen bee, because Whitney seems like she really wants to be, but she keeps leaving, and Taylor used to be, but she doesn't really care to be. But I'm like, why do you need a queen bee? Okay, I have one last thing to talk about, and this is just a funny, brief thing. Jessi is getting a plastic. So she does what anyone would do in this situation. She throws a party for it. The activities include drinking very on-theme mocktails and painting their perfect vulvas to give her inspo for her surgery. And they all give them names. And Taylor and Jessi both named them Candy. Later on, when she's recovering from the surgery, Demi brings her tulips for her tulips. Okay, the end. That's all I have to say. If it seems like I was going a little bit hard on the girls in this video, don't worry. The boys are not safe. In fact, I have a lot to say about them. In the next part, the girls are going to Vegas. They do some classic Vegas activities. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And this makes the men really start to act up. So we're going to talk about that next. Okay, bye, friends.